I mean, when you look at the way they utilize Justin Fields, it almost feels like to me that Matt Nagy simply just doesn't know what he's doing. But then you go back and you say, well, he did go to the playoffs. He won the playoffs twice, so he's got to know a little something. But I mean, does he know enough to be considered this offensive expert that everybody pegged him to be because he left Andy Reid and went to Chicago and he was supposed to be like this quarterback fixer dude? Well, realistically, Andy Reid was the guy coaching Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. So it's almost like Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson got hired, went to a Super Bowl and won, but was that just like, I don't know, just the
Reich and DiFilippo and these guys?
No, was it just luck? Was it just happened to hit at that moment and at that time? Because then he became this horrible coach.
But here's the question: like, if you know Jay, like anyone walking down the street goes, why doesn't he move the pocket or move the quarterback outside the pocket? Like simple stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So is he really the guy, Matt Nagy, the guy who can identify what a quarterback is and how to utilize the talent? But it doesn't seem like you've now had two quarterbacks here that are high first-round picks. I don't give a damn what nobody says about Mitch Trubisky. I don't care. You didn't seem to get anything out of him. And now you got Justin Fields that you don't seem to understand. You were getting ready to go up against arguably one of the best defensive fronts in the National Football League that have two first pick number one overalls, starting with Clowney, and then you got Garrett on the other side. Then you got Tack McKinley, another first-round pick, and then you got the other two guys that essentially are first-round picks. Even though they win the second round, they could have easily gone in the first round. You're going up against 5 number one picks on the defensive front, but you yet don't want to move the pocket. The only time you move the pocket is when he decides to run out of it because he's being chased.
And, Jay, he got a bad offensive line on top of it.
Sometimes as an athlete, as teammates, when you come back into that locker room, everybody looks at each other, and your head coach addresses the team, and everybody goes, you're not it, man. You're just not it. Like it feels like it's time for the Bears just to recognize sometimes when somebody tells you who they are, that's who they are. And we watched it last year with the quarterback duel between Trubisky and how Foles handled it. We're watching it again this year with Dalton and Fields. And Key, just add on to your point about not moving him around in the pocket. It just feels like he should be let go. It's time to move forward. Look, and this one thing is embarrassing for it, but Justin Tucker's game-winning kick versus the Lions traveled more yards in 3 seconds than the Bears gained over 60 minutes of football. Right? Think about this.
Lots of kicks, too. He didn't even get 50 yards of offense. 47 net yards, 1 for 11 on third down, 1.1 yards average gain, 1 passing yard, 9 sacks allowed. That's embarrassing, Keith.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
embarrassing.
But that's what I'm saying, Max.
9
Like,
times.
how could this be? I've never heard Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Anthony Lynn, Todd Haley, none of these offensive brain trust who calls plays. I ain't never heard of they offensive statistics look that bad ever.
What's so interesting to me about this is a lot of times, already doing this show just last bunch of weeks, I'll see something and I'll be like, oh my God. And then you come in and you ask Key about it, and Key will kind of downplay it, like nothing to see here, right? Like,
not this one.
Listen, from the outside, but there must be. So when I see a head coach not move the pocket behind a terrible offensive line, and what Key said was that defensive front, I think to myself, everyone, even people who know nothing about football, know this. How can the coach not know that? Key, there must be, you're going to give me some elaborate reason why you can't blame the coach, but you're not saying that. You're saying, no, it's just incompetence, it sounds like.
You asked me that we were here early in the morning. I said, it's him. It's the coach. It has nothing to do with the offensive line. It has something to do with your damn scheme. But again,
how could it be that? How could it be that lacking?
Let me tell you something, man. In the National Football League, these dudes get hired that don't do nothing, and they become head coaches or coordinators, and they get exposed. When you're around guys like Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, the first thing that they say is, well, he's calling all the plays or he's doing – he really isn't. He never was the quarterback coach. He wasn't – he might have had the title, but the guy's being coached by Andy damn Reid. And then what happens is you're not calling the plays, you're calling a player too. Because
then you get the moniker of play caller.
You get the moniker of play caller. It works for some people, not for all. Where Eric Bieniemy is actually calling the plays. Been calling them for a couple years now. So it's a little bit different. And you go out and you thinking you're getting Andy Reid, you're not getting it Big Red. Big Red's still in Kansas City. You getting a dude that just stand there next to him and he's a great play caller.
I was watching Justin Fields really try to play with the same play calling that they have for Andy Dalton. Like, that's what you were watching. It was the same kind of offensive scheme.
100%, but it just seems insane.
Well, things have been insane with the way he's handled the media, with the way he's handled play calling. I've been talking about scheme for the past 2 weeks. Look, if I'm the Bears, I'm on the phone with a guy like Brian Dable. I'm on the phone with a guy like Joe Brady. What?
Fired a dude already, man.
What? I'm making calls.
Well, wouldn't you, Key,
I'm
at this
making
point?
calls. I'm looking at Eric Bieniemy. I'm looking at Joe Brady offensively.
I'm not firing him in week 3.
Okay.
It's just hard. Like, so what rises to the level of saying this guy can't keep his job anymore?
You don't come into a season just leaving training camp ready to fire a coach in 3 games. Now, when we get to week 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we
get the draft pick, get the draft position first, and then fire the coach.
We're not about to just fire the dude in week 3.
I wasn't saying that you're going to actually get another coach. What I'm saying is you start paying attention to who you want to be your next head coach.
That was last year. We already been doing that.
We've been doing that for a year.
We was doing that last year. Before we came into this year, we were already doing that.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.